Welcome to UC News, ucnewscanada.ca. The Canadian Crisis Response. I'm Dr. Dave. The Mayor of Quinte West is using illegal financial equations to gut the lives of Quinte residents and destroy the economy. Here, we are directed under the Canadian Constitution to a root cause analysis, after which Quinte residents can direct the budget and operations of City Hall to correspond with the activities of legitimate government. Canadians love math, but why? The evidence indicates that an entire area of the brain is dedicated to math. At an early stage of childhood development, children pay scrupulous attention to the equal division of a cake, suggesting that fairness in biology can be defined as equitable access to the resources required for survival. Originating in biochemistry as molecular recognition, our senses of taste and proportion, math is a fundamental language right inherent to our well-being. Understood so well that we need no longer say these truths being self-evident, but can present evidence. In the mathematics of constitutional justice, expressing values such as honesty, our Supreme Court justices have developed a quantifiable test for each factor of fairness applicable to all cases of fraud in Quinte West City Hall, the Oakes tests. Can someone working full-time pay the mayor who spends money stupidly and afford food? Here, what matters is the math of labor and pay. Not just the question of dollars per hour, but the question of your basic personal infrastructure required to be employed and also free from slavery. The basic infrastructure of life needed just to make it work. A place to sleep, shower and keep clothes, a phone, transportation, with work itself being a complex multi-factor situation, and all of this simplified mathematically by a rate of pay in dollars per hour. Understanding here, under sections 1 and 7, that life, our lives and all of life, is proven beyond the shadow of a reasonable doubt to completely and utterly depend on fungus, bacteria, water, soil, plants, and animals. Here in Quinte West, the authoritative experts working at sawmills and tree cutting have indisputable evidence that we don't have enough trees left to build furniture. Why has the mayor acted to gut this basis of our economy, attacking people and the land for money? The mayor and council have decided to call everyone in this industrious foundation of our economy tree huggers, and further have taken radical, inhumane actions to ensure that anyone hungry or struggling to afford food has no place to go to grow food. The mayor does not like us describing this as a hate crime and actions against humanity, and yet, under the Oakes tests of the Supreme Court of Canada, we can provide substantial evidence in a court of law that this is the case. We can say morally, based on all the principles and practices of justice, that no caring parent would ever do this to their children. But you might be interested in the math proving it. Firstly, pay is equated to work done per hour as a rate of productivity, sustaining your Section 7 rights to life, liberty, and security of the person. In liberty, if you do not have a job, why are you not free to do the work required to sustain your life? In equality under the law, using the legal equation, work equals dollars per hour. The mayor and council want money, but reject the equality of work hours for those without money, issuing major threats that destroy lives for years to come, and fully rejecting community involvement that would greatly reduce the costs of work needed to run this city. This being the fundamental right and choice of how you wish or need to spend your time. A right removed from you, from those who impose bills on you that are inescapable expenses as essential human needs under charter protection. Next, although dollars per hour is a relative value, it can be quantified with a firm basis in fundamental realities. One basis being consumption of water and food, which is variable between people but finite and within reasonable charter limits, falling under a Gaussian bell curve of statistical distribution. Competency and productivity also falls on this curve, as there is a limit to how much work you can do in a day, even if we work as hard as possible. It takes work to grow food, and the land is limited and variable in its productivity, requiring limits and responsive variations in the bills applied to all those who work to pay for government. Here, we have both reason and reasonable limits, requiring reasonable response and consideration from workers at City Hall, reflected in the Oakes tests of fairness required from everyone in government as services we paid for but did not receive. Here, math greatly reduces the ambiguity of language as a basis of fact, evidence, and reasoning in discussions and in a court of law. This being the mathematical proof and evidence presentable as an open public case. It is well known that the Mayor and Council consider only the monetary basis of decision-making, with no concern for the lives of those who pay for it all, with active malice replacing concern for the civic responsibilities of equal benefit under the law. Instead, we get malice, fully rejecting reasonable limits based on the work we do with respect to the limited time in the day and the finite resources of nature. Considered using the full body of law from all of history, in which we completely and utterly, for many reasons, rejected slavery, the removal of choice and freedom, aimed at removing the foundations of real life security in food, work, and shelter, which this Mayor and Council have done in the purposeful commission of fraud by extortion of essential human needs, fraud and theft, in claiming that percentages are small. A 1% increase for someone taking $100,000 by force is a huge amount with respect to the person they take it from with extreme Section 7 life insecurity, an amount that could vastly change their life security in the purchase of seeds or tools for work, but which makes essentially no difference to those with extreme life security. The direct causal relation fitting the criminal code definition of theft, with provable criminal negligence of duty and callous disregard for the lives and rights of others. Fraud and theft in rejecting proportionality, setting taxes, fees, and prices in proportion to what they want, not in proportion to those struggling to pay for it all. This being the purposeful mining out of the lives of those whose work provides real value, in sharp contrast to types of work that mine out and decrease value, with the purpose and effect of degrading the lives of others. Fraud and theft in using economic ratcheting mechanisms, claiming that fairness consists of finding anyone with a higher wage, yet rejecting legal Section 15 considerations of those paying for it, wherein the continual increases of government are set against flatlining minimum wage to create a vast army of workers trapped in a permanent state of life insecurity, struggling to pay for it all. In this, aiming to silence citizens, giving them no say at all in determining their lives and future, and trapping an entire generation of young Canadians on course to a grim future, in which they have no actionable rights and freedoms to attain basic life security of essential human needs, or take the sane and reasonable actions needed to save their lives. Quinte residents are reminded that as they decide the work, wages, and benefits of their employees in City Hall, the Mayor and Council, that they must use these legal tools of due process already determined and already in effect by the Supreme Court of Canada in deciding equal benefit in government public relations.